Sawadee Krap and welcome to another episode for the Funkit Pod Media Friday. Time to look back what happened in the media. And since I got some positive feedback last week, I thought I'm just going to do the same thing again. Well, not talk about the same thing from last week, but I started with some Thailand related news because I'm here in Thailand. So I should know a few things about what's happening here in Thailand. And I got some positive feedback about hey, it's interesting to hear what's happening there, Southeast Asia. Share more of this. I'm going to slowly ease into it. So I'm not going to only make it a Southeast Asian media thing. Maybe it would be a cool niche, though. Maybe I should do this on a different day. However, I do share a few news that just happened here today. Again, Thailand, maybe next time somewhere else in Southeast Asia, just to slowly ease in. And if there's more interest out there, I'm going to make this a bigger thing in the upcoming podcasts. Let me know while you're writing reviews on Apple Podcasts, for example. All right, so here in Thailand now, one thing happened last Monday, I believe. Last Friday. The government signed into effect an announcement number 29, under the emergency decree. So right now we're still under an emergency decree here that allows the government to make rules, laws, regulations faster. And I wrote it down here on my notes so I don't get it wrong. It instructs the authorities to order internet service providers, ISPs, to immediately block the internet access of anyone who propagates information that may frighten people. Meaning, if you post something that could be deemed fake news, something that could frighten the larger population, your account should be blocked, shut down right away. Now, luckily, media outlets, newspapers, online channels, TV channels, human rights lawyers, activists, and so on, they actually called upon the PM, the Prime Minister, to say, hey, you need to change that. That's not okay. They even now sued, or I think they want to go to court, and said the Prime Minister overstepped his boundaries because there is already an article, the Cybersecurity, the Cyber Crime Act, that's how it's called in Thailand. We already have a Cyber Crime Act that actually already protects people from things like misinformation, fake news, talking bad about you and so on. So this was totally not necessary. And using the emergency decree to do this apparently means he's overstepping boundaries. That's what they say. We have to wait and see what happens now because this just happened those past few days. A very interesting development though also shows you how, I don't want to say scared, but how the governments here do understand that social media, the internet is a big important factor. And if you can control it, which of course is kind of impossible, but they still try to control it, of course, then you control big parts of the population. So we will have to wait and see what happens there. By the way, I'm just sharing the information that I found online right now. I'm not trying to spread fake news or frighten anyone. Just saying, don't be frightened out there. Don't shut me down. Don't be frightened. All right, let's move on from those still not frightening news to something even more positive. Britney Spears, and yes, I'm going to go from something almost political here in Thailand to something totally not political, well, at least not on the same level, to Britney Spears, because I just found this interesting because now, is she going crazy again? She posted on social media I'm Christian now, let's go to mass, let's pray together. She deleted those posts again on Instagram. She had other posts on Instagram where she talked about how she's happy that she has her first iPad ever now, also deleted. So is she posting this? Is she deleting this? Who's deleting it? What's happening? Hashtag free Britney. Britney, come onto this podcast, the only podcast out there that is not sponsored by anyone, that has no, regulations. You can talk freely here. Britney, I'm here for you. Come on my podcast. Britney X Funkit Pod. You heard it here first. Make it happen, Britney. Make it happen. Seriously though, let's hope she's okay. What else did I read while I prepared this podcast? I read something. So I told you in the last podcast, this has been the first time in a decade or so that I was playing computer games. So now I was more into computer games. I was looking what can I play on my Mac? Because I have a Mac and I don't want to buy an extra gaming console just because now it's the first time in 10 years that I feel like playing something. Then in 2 weeks I'm okay, I don't want to play anymore. So I don't want to buy a console or a PC for that matter even. So I was looking into, okay, there's not much on the Mac. How do I run stuff? And try Google Stadia. Then I realized, hey, Stadia is not available in Thailand. Yes, I could use a VPN, but then internet connection slows down. You know the deal. Anyways, while I was looking into how to make Stadia run here and the like, I read that Google apparently is considered buying, and again checking my notes, some or all of Epic, because they apparently, but the Fortnite clash obviously, and all the court orders and back and forth and so on, because it's been in the media forever. So now Google is like, hey, take my money, let's just buy parts of Epic or all of Epic. Why not? Yeah, that's kind of cool. You're in trouble. Checkbook. Okay, let's go. What do you think about this? What happens? I mean, Epic is not the biggest company out there, but they are a big name because they have some big, games out there, right? So, I mean, they should not be in the need, but if a company like Google comes along like, hey, here, $700 gazillion, you're probably going to say, okay, let's at least think about it. I found this interesting because this, of course, will also shift the game sphere a little bit if Google has like an even bigger stronghold in the gaming industry. What do you think? Are you gamers? What do you think if Google comes even, harder in the game paint, so to speak, if they're getting even bigger in there? What do you think about that? I found this interesting. Also, taking into consideration that other big companies such as Amazon and so on struggle to grab a hold of the gaming industry, will this then enable Google to actually hold on or get a bigger piece of the pie is the question. Or will gamers say, what the F, we don't want you here, get out? I don't know. Let me know what you think if you are a gamer. Speaking of, since we had in the news section already, should have an extra intro for this section, 5 minutes of news. What else do we have in the news? Well, so when you wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, when you wake up in the morning and you check probably social media and you probably check your cryptocurrency or your portfolio, I assume. I do the same. And these days, it's climbing again, slowly, but it's climbing. We're still not back where it was a few months ago, but getting there, hopefully. Now, as we all know, the Biden administration proposes crypto bills all the time, and they want to make it like a law and tax and whatnot. And now they proposed something, and you've probably heard of it if you're into crypto, and the outrage is insane because they would tax miners and wallet providers and developers and whatnot. So look into it. It's crazy. I don't have enough time to explain it here, but so it would be huge. And now there are a few amendments that are out there that would then hopefully help here to get rid of those most stupid ideas in that bill, but they don't have majority support just yet. And so now all crypto experts and so on are coming out and basically slamming the Biden bill. Now we know that this Biden bill, or slamming it, might not do a lot, but seeing that there are even a few senators out there that do understand a little bit of the technology, and they say, hey, Joe, that doesn't make much sense what you're proposing here, gives us a little bit of hope, I think. I think one of the amendments that don't make much sense was proof of work should be tax-free or something like this, or exempt from this bill, but proof of stake should not, or the other way around, I forgot, but just one, or basically picking, that's also how one of the senators who understands it's called it, you're picking the winner. So if you're saying, for example, we're taxing proof of work, but we're not proof of stake, then of course proof of stake is going to be the winning cryptocurrency, or all of the cryptocurrency that use proof of stake rather than proof of work, right? So you're picking which one you want to have succeed, and that's of course not fair, and of course could also be a hindrance to further innovation, right? If you just tax proof of work by default, then no one's going to try to improve the proof of work concept, for example, which of course could be detrimental to any kind of innovation in the blockchain era, segment, industry. That's what I was looking for. So it's just something that they should maybe spend a bit more time on researching, I believe. All right. One of the channels that's been used to talk about all those things, social media in general, of course, but Instagram has been there. Smooth transition again. Of course, Instagram has been a big channel of discussion, and Instagram now also has been a big discussion point for me personally, because I signed up to the beta program on Google Play, so all of a sudden I opened my Instagram the other day, 2 days ago, and I couldn't share anything anymore. There was no more upload picture button. Usually you have like I have an Android. On your Android, you have like top right. There's like this plus. So you click on the plus, and then you like feed, post, whatever, right? And then you upload something. This was gone. And also down in the middle, when you press on it, the only thing you can see is like the Reels button. So it will only show you Reels. And then I could upload Reels, but no other post. So then I updated it again after like a day or two or so. And then the old format was back. So I press on the plus and I can choose what I want to upload. But for a short moment of time, it was only Reels, which shows you that they're testing something, right? They're moving things around. And now the news also said that IG expands Reels to 60 seconds, which they say gives you more room for creativity, but definitely also gives more room for advertisement, of course. So we can see already shifting towards Reels. Reels seem to have the highest engagement rate, interactions, and so on. TikTok is still a thing, so they try to, of course, take more of the TikTok cake towards Instagram. And I'm sure there will be more monetization coming sooner than later, and it's going to be annoying. We talked about this last week already, those social media selling influencer shows and so on. It's annoying. With 60 seconds Reels, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Unsubscribe to all Reels. Duh. Can I have an option to opt out of Reels Instagram? I want the old Instagram back. Can I opt out of Reels, please? God, I'm purposefully not on TikTok, Instagram. Really, old man yelling at cloud. Speaking of which, also in the news, IG is testing a TikTok-like vertical field presentation for Explore. I mean, if you go into the Explore part of, I don't know why I show you like my imaginary phone. If you go to the Explore part of Instagram, so they're testing now this vertical TikTok style. Yay! Sure. Make it all the same. Make all apps the same. That's a great idea. We had it last week already, so I'm trying not to rant about it, but the hell, sure, why would you make everything the same? Speaking of making everything the same, Twitter is also in the news this week, in the social media news, and they're taking the next step into e-commerce with the test of shopping module. So if you have a business profile on IG, you might have seen that. They've got a shopping module now, so yay, can't wait to also do shopping on Twitter, because, I mean, IG isn't enough and IG shopping, and now I also do Twitter shop. Who shops on Twitter? Like, seriously. Okay, maybe if you're asking for something and then you get feedback and then like, hey, try this server provider or whatever. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. But still, shopping everywhere, and more ads probably, and more call to actions. Shop here, buy now. And I studied e-commerce, and I'm all about e-commerce, and even I say it's getting too much. Lord, there's another cloud I'm yelling at. It's the Twitter cloud. Since I'm yelling at the IG cloud, the Twitter cloud, let me also yell at the Facebook cloud. This week, Facebook launched a campaign ideas generator in case you, with your agency or your company, you're running out of campaign ideas. So Facebook now has a campaign idea generator that can help you create campaigns for your business. I'm laughing because shouldn't you have the best ideas for your business? Shouldn't you know best what works? And doesn't this set us apart, like how creative we are? And now we can use the Facebook generator. So all agencies are going to it's faster. Use the Facebook generator. And we all have like Facebook generated campaigns. Yes. Okay. Let's move those clouds away. No more yelling at clouds for now. I yelled at IG, Facebook, Twitter clouds. Let's look at someone else who yelled at clouds, at the Disney cloud. Scarlett Johansson. You probably heard it. Scarlett Johansson, who I had a crush on like 15 years ago or so. Scarlett Johansson, why are you doing this? Scarlett Johansson suing Disney because she was in Marvel as Black Widow, that one superhero without lots of superpowers. So she's suing Disney because Disney released Black Widow on Disney Plus, but it promised that it would release it first in theaters, and then her salary would have increased because some of her salary was tied to the theatrical release So the more people watch it in the theaters, the more she would have earned. I believe that's the case. And now that it's out on streaming on demand, so she says she will earn less in the theaters. So that's not fair. That's why she sues Disney. Disney's going to be like, haha, sure, and then just blacklists her for every further Marvel and Disney venture, obviously. Also, this shows one interesting thing, though, besides the lawsuit, of course. One interesting thing is that thanks to streaming, maybe contracts in the film movie industry have to be rethought, reconsidered. Because if the standard movie contract doesn't apply there anymore, right? Because now things are different. Now the streaming numbers are so hard to get. Like Netflix doesn't give you lots of streaming numbers. If you listen to like those stand-up comedians like Joe Rogan and so on talking about getting numbers from Netflix, they're like, you don't get that many numbers actually. Maybe because Netflix doesn't want you to have those numbers, because maybe the numbers aren't that great, and they don't want investors to see it. So then how do you measure success? Like articles online suggest that like different production houses have different measures of value. Like some say, I know, the social media buzz is worth something. We look at just the likes or whatever, or add to playlists or some stuff like this, or the positive feedback afterwards. So it's very hard, and this then may, as I said, might also lead to contracts changing, because if you say like the theatrical release thing, for example, doesn't make sense anymore, but then what do we tie your salary to then? Like the more downloads, the more views, but then do you get all... As an actor, for example, do you get those stats from Netflix? How many views you have and so on? Or then just views until the end, not just initial views, but maybe how many people watched it until the end, and they didn't break off in the middle or something, right? Like estimated minutes watched, like a measurement that YouTube gives you, for example. Like, is this going to be a KPI that's going to be used to then figure out how much money an actor should get and so on? So I think this is a very interesting thing. Like the lawsuit, one thing, like, yeah, she's ungrateful, whatever, but it leads to a deeper discussion that needs to be had, I believe. And I'm very curious to see where this goes, because I think we will see some major changes there rather soon. Okay, major change also... Segways, oh, massive. Major change also in Tesla's wallet, because apparently they had to pay $1 million to a former employee who said supervisors called him the N-word, a racist slur, and no one apparently interfered. And then upon coming out with it, Tesla paid this person $1 million to be like, hey, we're sorry, take the $1 million, off you go. Not much to say, because obviously that's effed up, but just because I had the discussion the other day saying like, there are so many weird people out there, like Bill Gates seems a bit weird with like his affiliation to that island that he maybe allegedly had there, and Jeff Bezos has a bit of a weird vibe, and I mean treats his employees, and then he's all happy when he comes from space, like, you paid for it, weird. But then Tesla seems to be so cool, and then I thought about it when I had this discussion, and like, okay, actually Elon Musk, he tries to be cool on social media and stuff, but not sure if it's really the case. And then apparently like his companies are also not all sunshine, rainbows and unicorns, right? So interesting. Speaking of going to space though, Virgin Galactic just reopened ticket sales. So if you want to go to the edge of space, what others then would say it's not space, Virgin Galactic offered ticket sales again, and they started from nearly $450,000 per seat. So that's not that much, actually. I'm thinking about doing this next weekend, maybe. If you're one of those people going up to space, to the edge of space, because, come on, it's not real space, let me know. Let me know what you think about it. Have you been there? Do you want to go there? I would like to have a podcast with you if you went there. See, so you invest $450K, and then afterwards you get on this podcast for free. Totally worth it. Do it. Let me know. It would be cool to talk about it. Okay. Since I had so many good segues this podcast, and now I'm struggling. Now I'm hating on Clubhouse basically every week, right? And I still ban from my phone. I think Twitter Spaces might be even better because it's public, blah, and so on. So now Twitter made like one more change to its Spaces. They actually now added the possibility to have co-moderators. So you can have up to 2 co-moderators now for your Twitter space, which should help you moderate things, which I think is a smart idea. So I was hating and yelling in the Twitter cloud before. Now I'm saying Twitter. That's not a major thing, but it still makes sense. So good on you, Twitter, for improving your spaces platform there. All right. Last thing I read right before I came here on the air, basically, was that there are services, and that's not a surprise, and I should tell you in a second why. There are services out there that apparently get paid for getting people banned online on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and so on. So apparently there are, I think I read on The Verge, if I'm not mistaken, on the way here when I was in the bathroom reading. So if you have someone that you want to have banned on Twitter, Instagram, and so on, you hire those scammers, and then they will use a verified profile that they have hold of, and then they will duplicate that profile, and then they will say, hey, this profile is kind of copying me, imitating me. I'm the real one. They're not. My profile is verified. Look, theirs is not. And then they get taken down. And then usually they even offer them the profile that got taken down to help them to reclaim their profile. So making money on both sides. Very interesting. Not surprised, because when I studied back at uni, I, of course, didn't do it because of ethics and morals and high standards and so on. But job for people that studied with me was to work for companies that run Google Ads or agencies, and then click on the Google Ads of the competition so that they would pay but not get any conversion from it. Google since then, of course, has figured that out, and of course now IP tracking and whatnot doesn't work anymore. But back then, for a brief period of time, it did work, and that was like one thing lots of people actually that I know did for a little bit. Yes, statute of limitation already, right? It's been way too long, so no one can hurt them anymore, because I would have never done that, of course. All right, so that's just interesting. If you're looking for a side job, get people banned on Instagram. No, I'm kidding. And I'm not trying to frighten people. Don't ban me. So last thing, to finish things off, a new movie out there, the movie called Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, right? That's the right Ryan. Yes, Ryan Reynolds out there. It's about a movie character and then a game character and then a game developer in the game, as a game persona tells the game character that he's in a game and that he could be trying to be like a good guy and try to use like the fact that he's in a game to do like good in the video game and so on. So, and it should be kind of fun. I read lots of reviews that say like it's a bit lame because it's too predictable and it's just too much action, and then the narration arc isn't that great because it's all about like that guy Ryan Reynolds, because he's the famous guy, of course, but he doesn't have much personality. But then the girl with the personality, the developer, the game developer, doesn't shine as much. Nevertheless, the premise just looks like a fun thing to watch if you're into computer games or action during a pandemic. So check out Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. He has some nice also ads on his private YouTube channel dressed up as Deadpool and then advertising Free Guy. So check it out. It's a bit cliche in the middle there, or at the end as well, with like some Disney reference there to Space Jam, because Disney bought it, and you know it all. But still, if you check it out, let me know what you think. Hit me up on social media at funkitpod. Send an email, funkitpod@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe to this video podcast wherever you're listening, watching it. Leave a review on Apple Podcast if you're listening there, because it really helps to be found. I appreciate that. As always, thanks for being here. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Sawadee krap.